Hi there, welcome to my studio. Thanks for checking out this video. If you're new here, my name is Siobhan, and on this channel I share a dynamic and expressive approach to drawing the figure. If you're interested in figure drawing, I'd love you to subscribe here and stay in touch. Let me know in the comments if you are a new subscriber. I also write about figure drawing every week over on Substack, so click on the link in the description and join me there. On the monthly tier, you can share your work and discuss your drawings with me directly and see work by other artists as well. In today's video, I want to share a process of a 20-minute portrait sketch that I did during a live figure drawing session where I was working directly from the model. Normally I don't draw a portrait during live drawing, so I wanted to share some thoughts here and some advice for you if this is something that you'd like to try out. So firstly, here are some of the drawings that we did leading up to that long pose at the end. We started out the drawing session with some very quick poses. These are just 30-second drawings. And then we moved on to doing some 1-minute and 2-minute drawings. And gradually worked up through some 5-minute drawings, all the way up to a longer, I think it was a half an hour, but I only spent 20 minutes on the last pose. So I'll try to talk through the process a little bit here because I think it is very daunting to tackle a portrait drawing from life, especially with a limited time. But I wanted to share this with you because sometimes, even in a live drawing session, you don't always have to draw the full figure. You can take one pose and just use it to make a study of a particular section of the figure, or as I did today, like working on a portrait. So to start off the drawing, I always try to get a very general idea of the composition. In other words, where on the page I want the drawing to be. And I think this is a very important step. It helps you to keep proportions under control from the beginning and to ensure that you're not working way too big from the outset and you wind up not being able to fit your drawing on the page. Then I took a very basic sighting with my pencil just to measure the distance from the outer edge of the face to the ear. So once I've got that in place, then I used a simple contour line to trace inner contours and find relative distances from key landmarks or key areas, like for example the eyebrow to the top of the head, or the distance from the eye to the ear and from the back of the ear to the outer contour or outer edge of the head. So these landmarks can all be found by tracing inner contour lines and using cross contour lines and just matching the position of one landmark against the position of another. Another thing to note is that I'm standing way off to the side of my drawing board, as you can see, and that really helps me focus my observation much more on the model, to keep looking at the model and not looking at my page, which for a contour line drawing you have to really be much more focused on looking at the subject than you do looking at your drawing. So here I'm restating the ear a little bit more definitively, kind of anchoring that and, placing that into the drawing. And then I'll check the position again with the eye, just to make sure everything is lining up. Drawing eyes for me is always hugely challenging. And so one way that I tend to cope with that is to focus as much as I can on just the darks. You can squint your eyes and just try and isolate all of the dark areas around the eye shapes. If you place that into the drawing, that at the very least will give you an indication of the shapes around the eye. And I also find that this stops me getting too detailed around the eye, which is exactly where I tend to make mistakes, where I tend to overstate things completely, and then I end up with a symbol for an eye instead of like the actual shapes. Here I'm checking the distance again from the ear to the back of the head. Now, one thing that's really nice in a portrait like this is this model's amazing beard. It's really useful on the one hand for, kind of covers up the lower half of the face. But on the other hand, something like a beard actually, does need a lot more attention. It's not just one flat tone or one whole section that you can just be laid in as, a flat color. There's a lot of texture and a lot of depth that you do need to give consideration to. And also remember that there are features to think about, things like the lips and the jawline. You don't see them necessarily, but I think if you have them in mind and you try to figure them out underneath the beard, it'll give your drawing a bit more structure. For the rest of the drawing, I tried to just build up this area and work on very slight shading. So I was standing actually in a very difficult position because the light was coming in from a doorway directly behind the model, and that made it really hard for me to see details and to get the shadows exactly right. Throughout the whole drawing process, I focused on building up the work using contour lines and responsive gestural marks, rather than sticking to a very strict sort of construction or technical based drawing. Personally, I find that this process allows for a much more loose and expressive style to come through in the final drawing, and it also allows for a very engaged drawing focus while you're making the drawing, and I just find that much more enjoyable as a process. This model, I would say, had like a very strong but very peaceful presence, and that's what I wanted to capture in a drawing as much as his physicality or the structural build. I think his strong presence is well matched with a simple contour line and minimal shading. And I'm just mentioning this because even though, this is such a personal and subjective take, I really believe that it's one of those things that we tend to overlook when we're focused only on trying to draw the structure of the figure or the anatomy of the figure, particularly in life drawing. Sometimes taking a moment to just think about other aspects, like the model's energy or presence, even though it sounds abstract, it can really help you overall in your drawing approach, to make creative decisions, to make those artistic decisions that will make your drawing stand out and really express your unique take on the subject. So I hope you enjoyed watching this video. This is just a very simple process, and I'd love to hear what you think. Let me know in the comments if you've got any questions, or if you prefer to approach drawing a portrait with a very step-by-step and measured technical way. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please give it a like, it helps me out a lot. Also, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, because I post videos regularly here for figure drawing. And I'd love you to join my Substack. I write every week over on Substack about figure drawing, and currently we're doing a book study club focusing on The Natural Way to Draw by Kimon Nicolaides. So I'd love you to join us if you can. Thanks again for watching, and I'll look out for you in the next video.